Welcome to Simply Hospitality, the podcast where we share industry updates and practical tips to help your business and teams succeed. Hello and welcome to Simply Hospitality.
Hello. Today, I think Lucy's going to quiz me.
So I thought we could delve a bit deeper into the details behind the Food
Hygiene Rating Scheme.
Yeah, I knew it had an acronym. FHRS.
Yeah, not scores on the doors.
No, but that is what people call it.
That is what people call it, yeah. Or the 5 stars or any of that. But it's actually the Food Hygiene Rating Scheme, FHRS.
So from the start, when somebody sets up a restaurant, they need to go onto the government website and register themselves, don't they?
28 days before you intend to open, you need to register as a food business operator. And it is now on the gov.uk website.
Okay.
And you put in your postcode so it ends up with the right local authority.
Okay. And then when they've done that, will that immediately trigger an EHO to come out?
Not immediately, because you might not be open. Anyone who I talk to, I always suggest they go onto their council's website, find the generic environmental health email address, and then just say, I've just registered. I should be open within 28 days, but it might take longer. Or I've just registered and I'm open and ready for an inspection. So just try to communicate with the council from the beginning. Or I've registered because I hope to be open in 2 weeks, but I'm waiting on building control to sign off the building. So it's just that whole...
Okay.
Because they could turn up on day one. You open, they turn up.
Okay.
And you need to be ready for that.
Right. And what does that mean? They have to be ready, so they need to have...
their food safety management system based on the principles of HACCP. So that's their paperwork. If you are just a small business, go to food.gov.uk and download Safer Food, Better Business. Fill it in properly and accurately. Fill in the diary sheets and that's you ready for day one. And
Brilliant.
That's the simplest and easiest thing to do.
So easy.
Yes.
Okay. And so, go on.
So the book needs to be ready day one. Then whatever they write in the book, they need to be following that. So if they say they use day dots, they need day dots. If they say they've got a designated raw meat area, which you don't need, but if that's what your book says, then that's what you have to have. So you write in the book and you follow what the book says. Structure-wise, walls, floors, ceilings, equipment, all has to be smooth, impervious and easy to clean. So that's the structure element. And then hygiene would be making sure there's no cross-contamination, your fridges are the right temperature, freezers are the right temperature, designated colour-coded chopping boards. They're not a legal requirement, but that is what you use to ensure there's no cross-contamination.
Yeah.
Legal requirement to have a designated wash and basin with paper, towels and soap and hot and cold running water.
Okay. Tick, tick, tick. And we're
it.
ready to
That's
go.
it, you're done.
Okay. Bye-bye. See you next week.
I was going to say, you will feel sick when they
when they
come.
Yeah. But you don't need to.
No, you don't. When you get that message, there's an EHO in one of your businesses, does it make you feel a little bit sick?
Petrified.
And that's after all of these years.
You feel like it's one of those things that, you know how with your children, you just want to protect them from the world, but you're not allowed. You can't. You have to let them just do it.
Yeah.
So when you're not at your restaurant and you know your manager is having to deal with that, you can't just like run in and take over. It has to be them that deals with it. So you just have to sit back and pray that everything you've done has worked. I guess like with your children's lives.
Yes, very good analogy. And also I feel the same when I get a message from somebody I work with and they go, EHO is in so-and-so.
And you're like, ah.
Yeah, so I've been in an audit with a business that's being audited by somebody else and got a message that another business had an EHO in, and then another message comes through. So there's 3 of them and I'm like, oh, please be okay, please be okay.
But they always are because they're looked after by you.
Mostly, as long as they follow the advice I give them.
Yeah.
But everyone can have a bad day, and that's the problem.
Yeah. Okay, so what happens if, unfortunately, you do receive... Okay, well, let's first of all start with, there are 5 ratings.
Yes.
What does it mean? What do each of the 5 stand for?
Very good is a 5.
Mm.
If you get a 5, you will be inspected every 2 years. Because they're basically saying, yeah, you're fine. All it means is you comply to the law. You could have a few minor non-compliances. So, for example, you could still operate with a 5 and you've got a few cracked tiles on your floor.
Right.
There's no risk to the food, but it's not ideal, but that's still a 5. 4 is good. So they might have found, I don't know, some out-of-date food. So you've got scored down on the hygiene part. So those 3 things is where you get your score: confidence in management, your paperwork, structure, and then hygiene. So you might lose some marks in one of those areas.
Yeah.
If, for example, you open on day 1 and you haven't got your book, you could go straight to being a 1 because you haven't got a food safety management system. And that gives you a 20 on the scoring system, which gives you a 1.
Well, at what point is it you have to close? Or at what point does your reputation start to get tarnished? Like, as a customer, I know that if I see a 4 on the door, I'll still go in. But if I see a 3, it'll probably put me off.
So 3 means generally satisfactory. In our world, in environment and health world, it means you're compliant to the law. There's bits and bobs that are wrong, but generally you're okay. Nobody likes a 3. Nobody thinks a 3 is okay, but it is generally satisfactory. But you will lose customers.
As an EHO, would you go into a place that's a 3?
Probably.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Depends how good the food is.
Whether it's worth
We're
the
only
risk.
rating the hygiene and the cleanliness. We're not rating the taste of the food, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't... The thing that would probably irritate me is because I know how easy you don't have to do a lot to get a 5. So you're just like, come on, just clean.
Yeah.
So sometimes it was like, I'm not going in there because they don't deserve my money, because if they can't clean, then I don't want to give them my money. So it's a bit of that, but that's just a me thing, not a world thing. 2, so I don't know what they are. Requires improvement. 1 is... one's improvement necessary. One's like, oh my God, you really need to do something now. And 0's like, I don't know the official term for it, but 0 is a...
You're screwed.
Yeah, immediate improvements required, I think.
And you'd have your doors shut?
No, not necessarily.
Not even for a 0?
Not necessarily. You can operate with a 0. Because it depends on the circumstance. So the only reason you could be closed is if the officer, during their inspection, finds imminent risk to health.
Right.
So if you've got mouse poo all over the place or mouse poo all over the surfaces, there is an imminent risk to health.
Yeah.
So then you would close down. But they would score you a 0 for that day. But the next 2 days you could clear up. They go back in and they have to open you up again. But you would keep the 0.
At what point can you get reassessed if you get a low mark?
So if you get a 3... If you get a 3 or a 4, nobody likes getting a 4. A 4 is really irritating because...
It's one tiny thing away from a 5.
Yeah. And also you've got to pay... Most places you've got to pay for a rescore. So depending on... Now, if there are any environmental and health officers, I probably will get a little bit of the technicalities wrong. If you pay for a rescore and the things that have been picked up are structural issues, then the council can come back sooner rather than later. If you don't pay for a rescore, then you have to remain on your score for 3 months before you are allowed to apply for a rescore.
And you can apply for a free rescore?
If it's in one of those areas where it's free,
okay.
Yeah. If it's other things, even if like hygiene, ongoing issues that, like your paperwork, for example, or something they need to see that you've implemented
consistently,
that then they don't have to go back immediately, even if you've paid for it. It varies. You've got to look at the council's, what's it called, enforcement procedures or...
What, and it varies for each area?
Yeah, and it all varies. All of it varies.
Yeah.
we may have discussed inconsistencies before.
We may have done.
I certainly frequently discuss the inconsistencies between
different
people, because we all are inconsistent as human beings. So, but that's not helpful when you're running a food business. So, if you got 2, so anything below a 3, so a 0, 1 or 2, the council are legally required to return and do a revisit to make sure that you've complied with all the non-conformances. So if I don't know, say your work surfaces are so awful that you need to replace them, it would be a list of things that you would have needed to do. They have to come back and check that you're now compliant.
The actions.
But that doesn't mean you get a rescore. You have to apply for the rescore.
Okay. Right. So I think that's quite comprehensive.
Yeah.
Now to think about, what is the impact on your business? What's the incentive to get a good score, other than, because you said like even they could even function with a 0. So let's think about from a customer perspective, from a business perspective, why is it so important?
Okay. There is one area in Hampshire that if you get a score below 2, the local paper will print it.
Does it begin with a P?
No. It begins with a B. It doesn't. It's what I think is lazy. Sometimes the papers love it when it's quiet. It's lazy journalism. They will just print the scores. No, actually, in Portsmouth, they print all of the results, good and bad, which I think is fairer, because why give the bad ones publicity? Let's celebrate the good ones as well. So
yeah.
But you can, the negative publicity. I have worked with somebody who they got a 1 or a 2. They were a big wedding venue and they lost a wedding as a result of it. Now that's £8,000 minimum. That's a minimum £8,000 just for the wedding, let alone all the guests that would stay, let alone
all the guests that
would drink an awful lot.
The negative publicity.
Yeah, the guests that would go and say, "Oh, I want a wedding here." That wedding didn't. You just can't. There was a survey done a number of years pre-COVID by Sussex Trading Standards. So they questioned X number of people, and it was around 80% of people said, "I will only eat in a 4 or a 5."
Yeah.
You lose one customer a day. Your average customer spends 50 quid. You've lost 19,000 pounds in a year.
That was very quick maths.
I've done it before. You can't see them not coming in.
No.
Because they just don't come in. But there are people who do check the score, do know that then I'm not going in there.
So number one reason obviously the number one reason to make sure that you're being clean and safe is to be clean and safe. Yeah. But the impact, number one, is drop in revenue, drop in sales.
Drop in revenue.
Fewer customers willing to dine with you. Less money.
Yeah. It's very, very stressful when somebody gets a bad score. It's really stressful because obviously I quite often get called out. We've had a bad score. Sometimes I feel like a counsellor, honestly, which is fine.
Therapist.
Yeah. So almost in recent times, I think one chef was just about to have a breakdown in front of my eyeballs because they get it from all angles. The chefs get it from the owners, and also have got the team to keep up, and it's just
their reputation, their pride.
Yeah.
Amongst their peers.
Yeah. And it's just a very stressful situation.
I think I told you, actually, I think I mentioned it on the podcast before, but we've had a manager who was like on the verge of tears during the inspection just because the anxiety around it was so high. It's petrifying. I mean, so your job is to go in and just reassure. A lot of the time. My
job is now, I have done an inspection once where I thought, because it was awful, and I thought this girl was going to wet herself, right? But she was so scared. It wasn't her fault. Again, she was left to be the punch bag, whereas not that I would have been nasty. The owner just went off, didn't want to get involved at all, didn't want to engage at all, which says a lot. says a lot about what we say quite a lot, which is the whole food safety business culture.
It all starts from the top, doesn't it? It all starts from the culture. Yeah, and so what you're saying there, like, it can really impact staff morale. If you have a low score,
Definitely.
would you feel, as an employee, you might feel embarrassed to work for a company that has... Yeah.
And again, if you've worked for that company for a number of years, you feel a lot of loyalty. So it is then...
It throws it up in the air.
Yeah, like, oh, I thought I worked for a great company, and look, now I can't go, I've worked for a great company because my company's in the local paper because we've just got a 2.
Yeah. And also, have I got job security now?
No.
Am I working for a company that isn't being run well?
Should I jump ship? Should I look for another job? But they're going to go, where have you come from?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I worked for 10 years in so-and-so, and the one that was in the paper last week. People talk. People talk.
Yeah. And then there's the impact on any suppliers that you've got. So if you're proudly, promoting your local butcher's sausages or your local greengrocer's tomatoes or whatever, would they then want to have their brand on your menu if they know that you've now got a reputation as a shoddy business?
Possibly.
It's just all the association, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even for you, if you worked for somebody who consistently was getting low marks, would you start to think, do you know what? I'm actually done.
I would.
So, Ruth, what happens if you do get shut down?
Right. So, as I said, you have to prove imminent risk to health.
What the EHO has to prove that.
Legally has to prove imminent risk to health. So you might not have any hot water in the building. If you haven't got any hot water, you can't wash your hands, you can't clean. So this is just a little side note, if you have no hot water, or make sure you've got a procedure for having no hot water. If you've got a dishwasher, you can wash the dishes. You might be able to put a pot of water on the pan for cleaning, and you might have an electric heater for washing your hands. But that's by the by. If you've got no hot water, you can't clean, you can't wash your hands, that's the imminent risk to health. Yeah, you're going to the toilet. If you can't wash your hands, they could potentially say, we want you to close until you've got hot water.
We've actually, sorry to interrupt your flow,
okay.
but we have actually done an episode on what to do if your hot water goes.
We did, didn't we?
What was it? It was like...
It was world...
crisis situations.
Yeah, it was for World Food Safety Day.
And what was the theme?
And it was Expect the Unexpected.
That was
so
it.
Pop and listen to that. But
it was an interesting episode.
So EHO goes, this situation, there's rat shit everywhere. There's imminent risk to health. We need to close you. They have got 2 options. They can voluntarily close you, which says, can you close until you've sorted this out, and we'll come back. If you agree to that voluntary closure, for God's sakes, agree with it, because it's less public. People don't know. People won't know. And then follow it. Do not say you're voluntarily closed and then reopen once you think they've all gone home. Because I've voluntarily closed people before, and then the night noise people are on late shift. So you go, can you swing by and check that they're closed? So they will be checking and can be checking if there's any night noise
when
people.
You say the noise people, because EHO also talk about
noise. Yeah, so they're in the same team.
Mm-hmm.
So if you voluntarily close, follow whatever they say. If they offer you voluntary closure and you refuse it, or they may not offer you voluntary closure, then they do it formally, and they will issue you with a emergency prohibition notice. The notice goes on the window of your business. It says, we are closing you because you're infestated with cockroaches.
Oh no.
That's there then. Anyone walking by will see it.
Have to say though, I really don't think, if you're listening to this podcast, you're unlikely to have
that problem.
A problem that you haven't dealt with.
No, you're not that type of person.
No.
So then the EHO has to go to court within 3 days, the magistrate's court within 3 days, say to the magistrate, we close them because of this reason. They only need to see a few pictures and they'll go, yeah, we agree with you.
Right.
And then they will issue a prohibition order, and then that says you cannot open until you have done X, Y, Z, whatever it is to correct the problem.
Right.
If the magistrate disagrees, then you are able to claim compensation for being closed without
Oh, that's
real
good.
reason. Yeah. Which is sometimes why EHOs might use voluntary closure, because they think, well, there's two reasons. A, it's a lot more paperwork, it's a lot more hassle, and they can't be questioned. So
because it's on the owner. They've made that decision.
They've made that decision, but they don't have to go to court and justify why there was imminent risk to health. It's not legally challenged. So if you disagree with the voluntary closure and you don't think there is imminent risk to health, then ask them to do it formally. But that will go on your window. And people won't remember that you've had that overturned. They'll just remember that you had it on your window.
Yeah.
So
I'd never go back to that restaurant ever again. If I saw a sticker on the wall.
Oh, it stays around for ages. A bad reputation stays around for ages.
Yeah. I know. I've had experience of that through businesses that we've taken on, and they're past.
Oh, yes.
A hangover from the past, and it's been associated with us as new owners.
Yeah. And Google doesn't forget.
No. Yeah.
Oh, the worst are the up and downs. They get to a 5 and then they go down. And I have been blamed, shouted at, insinuated that I should have got them a 5. And it's like, that's not my job.
No,
my job is to advise you and give you advice how to get a 5. You have to follow that advice. And that's not my responsibility. So this was a while ago. And since then, I am very clear on, I can tell you what to do, but I cannot do it.
You can't do it. Yeah, it's their responsibility.
Yeah. And if you don't tell me, let's say I've written their food safety management system for them, and then they go and change their menu.
Yeah.
And it's not on there. You need to tell me, then you know that. But that's about me making sure I keep an eye on them or their Instagram.
Yeah.
I have gone, I didn't know you were doing that. Didn't know you were doing that.
How are you cooking that?
Exactly. I bet they wish they could block me, some of them. So, Lucy.
Yes, Ruth. No, we just like doing that, don't we? It's our little line.
So, you've just had an environmental health inspection. Let's say you've got a 2.
Oh.
Okay. I've seen what that does to the people that work there, but then I walk away because people aren't my thing. Food safety is my thing. Although I did suggest it recently. I said, what you need to do is get all your people together. So what would you do as a manager or an owner that's just got a bad score? How do you get them to go? Firstly, what would you do?
Okay,
what would you do?
First of all, I'd look at the context, look at the situation that's surrounding this. So if we'd got a bad score and we'd just had a really busy summer, for example, and everyone's worked their butts off, blood, sweat and tears for you, working for you for the summer, and then an EHO comes in and gives you a bad score because they haven't had time necessarily to do the weekly, monthly cleaning tasks over the summer, I would approach it differently. So to if we had a score given to us in the depths of January when they should have had ample time to clean every little orifice with a toothbrush.
And I suppose it depends what they were picked up on.
And it depends what they were picked up on.
Because you can get a bad score for everything in place, but the book not being there.
Yeah.
Which depends whose responsibility that is.
Yeah. But say it's an overall cleanliness issue. Yeah. I would, first of all, make sure that I'm communicating to everybody all at once and say, okay, this is the facts. We've just received a 2. Because I think honesty is the best policy, and to take ownership, accountability for any part of that might have been my responsibility.
Not go and scream at them.
Definitely not go and scream at them. So I would probably invite them all in for a team meeting and go, right, here's the situation. Tricky one. We've been given a 2. Don't think it's deserved. Think it's because it's been a really busy summer. We all know that we're better than this. We're going to pay to have them come back in. In the meantime, we need to get ourselves back up to a 5, and then we need to do it together.
Yeah.
And these are the reasons why, guys, because if we don't, we're not going to have a business to all give us jobs. So we all need to do our bit. And then I would say exactly, break it down and explain what each person's individual responsibility was, so they understand exactly what our expectations are of them as individuals. I'd also probably although I'd do that in a team setting, I'd also probably then take people individually who I thought might be particularly affected by it. So if they're a certain type of person that feels emotions heavily or is particularly sensitive or particularly anxious about job security and that sort of thing, because there are some people who'll just be like, just tell me what I need to do and I'll get it done, and it would be water off a duck's back. But there might be some people who'll be thinking, hold on a second, all the things we've just said, does this mean that I don't have a job? So I'd take those people and give them one-to-ones to make sure that they understand that we have this in hand. This is why it happened. This is what we're going to do to fix it. And watch this space. We're going to get 5.
So what you've initially done is done a bit of self-reflection as a business owner.
Right.
You haven't instantly gone into knee-jerk reaction of turning on the head chef and going, if you don't get us back to a 5, you've lost your job.
No. But it's never one person's responsibility, is it?
Exactly. It's never one person.
And there will be people who do need to take accountability.
More responsibility than others, perhaps, yeah. And I think that's that self-reflection on the whole business before you act. But that's sometimes very difficult because... What?
Don't get distracted by the photographer.
I wondered what the hell you were doing.
I saw you doing it and I was like, ignore it. And Ruth just went...
I was taking pictures. Blaming one person, or I think I've seen this where people have had a bad score, and you talk to the chef and they go, if I don't get this score back up, they've told me I'm going to lose my job.
Oh my gosh, can you believe that is their technique for motivating people?
It's not going to, is it?
No. I don't think you want to scare anyone into doing anything.
They did get back to a 5, but long term that chef left, and he was a good chef because he wasn't responsible for the bad score in the first place.
But it sounded like they weren't really on his team.
No.
So he probably left. That was probably just like...
Because you need to know that you've got that support. You're all in it. Like you said, everyone's got a little bit of responsibility.
Got their part to play. Yeah. I think it's really, really useful having you on board so that you can come in and do sort of audits once a quarter so that we get a feel for what we would get before the real deal comes in. There is nothing more valuable. I think it's such well spent money. This is not me giving you a big advert.
No.
A big plug. But it is though, because when it happens, it's too late. When it happens in the real deal, it's too late.
It's a dress rehearsal with me, and it is a kick up the ass sometimes, or I was somewhere recently, it's like, they were like, oh, and I'm going, don't forget, I'm seeing all this with fresh eyes. I'm not here day in, day out, so you don't notice things. To the point sometimes I'm going around and people look at my eyes and they can see where I'm going with my eyes, and they're like, oh, yeah, I don't even have to say anything because once they see it, so if you can get somebody, if you've got 2 businesses, get the head chef from one to go to the other so that they can
That's a good idea. See it with fresh eyes. Yeah. Yes, we have done that with front of house staff before. So we've switched the managers round and got their feedback on different venues.
Okay.
And it's really interesting what they come back with, things that you just wouldn't notice.
No.
Or just like, oh, we do that there. Why don't you do that down there?
Yeah,
sharing best practice.
Yeah, and that's a lot of what I do, because obviously I know things about businesses and I try my best not to talk about some things about different businesses, in particularly any bad things, it's like a priest, you take the secrets and all the rest of it. But if I see somebody doing something that's really good, okay, that's a great idea. And then sharing it, because I don't think sharing safety is sharing like secret recipes. Because if you're all doing the same good practices, it's costing you all the same and it's saving you all the same. It's all yeah.
It's almost something that we could do on this podcast, like
top tips.
Well, we do top tips, but things that you've learned. What's Ruth learned this week? Little nuggets that you've picked up that is worth sharing. I'm sure there's loads from our restaurants.
It's
exemplary.
I was going to say, sometimes there are things that you don't want to share.
Yeah.
Even not naming the businesses, people can guess sometimes.
So hopefully that's given you an insight into the food hygiene rating system.
Score.
FHRS. What you need to be thinking about and why it's so important and what to do if the worst does happen.
Yeah. Just be ready.
Yeah, just be ready. And if you feel like you're not ready, then give Ruth a call.
Yeah.
That's Simply Safer. Simply-safer.co.uk.
Don't forget, there should be on one of the bios, or maybe we'll put on every bio now, is a code so that you can go onto my website and there's a self-assessment for getting your score. So if you think the inspection's coming up.
Amazing. So where do they go to?
Simply-safer.co.uk, and in the shop there is a self-assessment form, and we will put a code so you can get it for free, download it for free in the bio.
In the show notes.
In the show notes, that's it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Well,
thank you for listening.
Much. Bye. Thank you for listening to this week's podcast. We hope you found the content useful. If you have any questions that you think we can help you with, please email shthepodcast@gmail.com.
Please follow and share this podcast. Until next time.